Fresno, California. You're looking at a live picture right now of the Tower District behind me. This is Olive and Van Ness. Get ready for a gorgeous day all across the Central Valley. Highs in the 70s today. And then by Sunday, we could see highs close to 85. Yeah, spring is here. Early summer is coming as well, apparently. It's not even going to be April. Thank you for being with us. We have another great episode of Central Valley Talk episodes today, as we're going to be live until just after 4 o'clock, so stay with us. My first guest, a familiar face here on Central Valley Talk. Give it up for Ed Crane with Canine Partners for Life. Good to see you again.
Austin, it is great to be here and share some stories and hopefully educate my family and my community and the world around me along the way. And today we're here to talk about Purple Day.
Purple Day. Now, yeah, you told me this just before the interview, and I thought, oh, wait, I do have a purple handkerchief. So I thought, hey, I want to get in on it as well. That is tomorrow, right? Wear Purple
Tomorrow.
Day.
Each year, Purple Day is celebrated on March 26th. And I just want to introduce everybody, not only to myself, but with me today is my service dog, Zern, from Canine Partners for Life, who helps me with my battle with epilepsy every day. And he's wearing purple today.
He is wearing purple. He's taking a nap right now, though. He's happy
Well,
as a clam.
he's pointed towards me, and he's always got his nose and his brain working to sense an oncoming seizure. So I'm happy and confident that things will work out good.
So now I do want to give a shout out to all of the epilepsy foundations today, because after this interview, you're going to be sharing this video with all of them.
Absolutely. And at the same time, this is a reach out to all individuals dealing with epilepsy, their families, their friends who help them in many, many ways. It is just an opportunity to educate locally and the world about epilepsy.
So first off, tell us what the update is as far as Canine Partners for Life, and what have you been working on?
Well, we work, I'm a volunteer as a recipient of 3 dogs over the past 19 years with them to help me with my epilepsy. And under the coronavirus, unfortunately, many organizations have temporarily had to shut down due to the requirements along the way here. And I'm hoping that will change in the near future, particularly with the vaccinations going out. But I can tell you that they raise a full spectrum of dogs that help a lot of people, and epilepsy is just one of them along the way here.
Now, how old were you, or how many years ago was it when you were first diagnosed with epilepsy?
I was 30 years old at the time.
Okay.
In 1987, and at that time, I had my first seizure, grand mal seizure at work along the way here. So
and that was in New York City, right?
I was in the World Trade Center.
In the World Trade Center.
Yeah. And
Tower
then
1 or Tower 2?
I was in Tower 1 at the time, and it was something that was unexpected. My business was well prepared for emergencies, and being in that situation, they were well prepared to exit people to emergency hospitals in the area. So that worked out well. But what I wanted to try and do was talk a little bit about Purple Day today.
Sure.
And I'll share my story along the way. I had submitted some pictures along the way, so if we can see that at the same time. But I wanted to say that Purple Day occurs on March 26th every year.
Okay.
And it's an international grassroots effort that's dedicating to increasing awareness about epilepsy. And it is one that has grown over the years to tremendous proportions. I also wanted to share that this special day was founded by a woman by the name of Cassidy Megan back in 2008. And she had the idea that there had to be more awareness locally in her city and state and in the United States to get an awareness about epilepsy to everybody along the way. When I first got epilepsy, I didn't even know what it was. And my experience over time is that you know, for most of us, it's an invisible disability. So many people don't even know or are aware that we are dealing with this challenge each and every day. But I wanted to first thank Megan for starting this and seeing it grow around the world and helping so many people. So thank you very much, Cassidy, along the way here. And what it has done has been very, very, very helpful. Another thing that has gotten me along the way is just epilepsy, a definition. You know, in preparation for today, I looked at 9 sites, Centers for Disease Control, the Epilepsy Foundation, to look at a common definition of epilepsy, and there almost isn't one. You know, every site says something different, but I did find one that I think really is accurate, and it says that epilepsy is a chronic neurological disorder which affects some or all functions of the brain, mine included. It can be caused by a brain injury, mutated genes, or disease, okay? A person with epilepsy is diagnosed when they have had at least 2 or more seizures. And I think that is a good explanation along the way.
I do have one question to that, because I have had seizures before, but every single time it was due to a medication. Now, the doctor at first thought that, oh, I may be epileptic, but then after further EKG testing, they said, you know, it was strictly because of the medication.
Right.
It impacted me just wrong. And I haven't had any since. Is that maybe the one kind of definition to where, you know, if you've had a couple seizures due to medication, then you're not epileptic?
Well, you know, the problem is that it is difficult even being diagnosed with definitions. For me, from my first seizure, it was more than a decade before I was diagnosed, even though my first seizure was the only seizure that year, and 10 years later I was having them monthly. I wasn't diagnosed. So it can be confusing today, and it can even be difficult from facility to facility. Most people, I eventually was referred to a medical facility in Philadelphia at the time that specialized in epilepsy. And it was there, after a series of tests, that they diagnosed it and then were able to, I have epilepsy and seizures in various parts of my brain, but the area that was affecting me most was my left temporal lobe, and that's where the diagnosis really came from. So it's not a simple process, which makes it confusing. Here's just a couple of statistics. There's about 65 million people around the world that have epilepsy.
That's a lot of people.
Here in the United States, there are 3 million adults and 470,000 children with epilepsy. There are 150,000 new cases of epilepsy each year. 1/3 of the people with epilepsy, and this is troubling, find no treatment to assist them. So 1/3 of the people with epilepsy seize uncontrollably without medication, without brain surgery, without any option. That is troubling. 6 out of 10 people with epilepsy, the cause is unknown. Mine was never, the cause was never determined. And here, locally, California has the highest number of epilepsy cases in the United States, 367,900 here in the state of California. Okay.
Why?
So, well, you know, I think the biggest factor is the size of the state. Okay, so that if California was not as large and encompassing, you know, was split in half, we would be down with the others. But it's an indication of what's happening here along the way, and I'm sure locally. I know epilepsy is treated locally in the region. The kicker is epilepsy is still relatively unknown out there, you know. I've shared a couple of photos that I thought would be helpful. One says, imagine feeling alone, living with a disorder that most people don't understand. That's epilepsy. And you've got to remember that today we're at a time where not only do most individuals who have nothing to do with it don't understand, but many families who have a family member that has it don't truly understand what epilepsy is and the effects that epilepsy has. I wanted to point out something that's helped me personally along the way, and that's resources that people can go to. One of the best that's out there is a webpage by the Centers for Disease Control. And that can be looked up very easily by just putting the letters down, CDC space epilepsy, or in reverse, epilepsy space CDC. This website has got the most expansive information I've ever seen about epilepsy. Everything from describing what epilepsy is, the terminology, to resources to refer to how to get help. And I recommend anybody who has questions about this, whether it's yourself who has epilepsy, a family member or a friend, this is a great site to refer people to. Another thing that I'm active in is there are many epilepsy support and networking groups out there. And again, what these operations do is you've got individuals like myself who are dealing with epilepsy and family members involved who come on board with a specific organization and are communicating on a regular basis. Usually monthly meetings are involved. The topics that are discussed affect everything we're doing. And I have been out there investigating, and I want to talk and praise two organizations that I believe in. One is called Epilepsy Portland, and one is Epilepsy Washington, D.C. And again, these are two of many groups. I go online and participate. I share information, but I get more from each of the sites along the way. So I recommend they're easy to look up under epilepsy support groups online.
Is that Epilepsy Portland, Oregon, or Maine?
Portland, Oregon.
Oregon, okay, very
Portland,
good.
Oregon, yeah. So
That's where I grew up. So.
that's a great way to come in contact with people who are dealing with the same day-to-day challenges or have questions, or many times there are folks who epilepsy is new to them and they're challenged by that. There's also a site online called myepilepsy.org where people go on and share their stories and interchange along the way. I guess what I'm saying is there are resources out there that I think people should look into because I think they can answer questions along the way. I also posted a photo that showed me and my service dog Zern, and on the other side is Canine Partners for Life logo, and it says, "Epilepsy affects me every day in so many ways. But no matter how I feel, my service dog Zern, who is right here with me, helps me get up, get dressed, and never give up. Zern is my hero when it comes to epilepsy." And, finally, I wanted to say that what happens with epilepsy support, particularly on Purple Day, what is out there for people to take advantage of is simply talking to people who have something in common. And it's an opportunity along the way here. I find it helpful to make sure that the people I come in contact with understand the challenges. Everyone knows that when they get introduced to me, that just a few minutes later or a few hours later, I'm not going to remember who they are. I could run into them on the street, and I'm not ignoring when I walk by. Those are some of the challenges that are faced every day by people who are dealing with this illness.
Because, I mean, when you think about it, the main reason is because your brain is being shocked.
Correct, and short-circuited. For many people, like myself, epilepsy is an issue in many parts of the brain. So in some of the things that are daily functions, for myself, memory is so difficult for me that when each of my nieces was born, it took me years to remember a name. And then even sometimes when I encounter a loving family member, the brain circuit isn't there that I'm going to remember. And for most patients, it's embarrassing. They don't want to have to explain or deal with it. I've been dealing with it for so long that I've gotten to a point that I let people know. And I've taken shortcuts. I carry a pad and a small pencil in my pocket, and anything that I need to remember when I get home, I will type up, and I've got a special file. But that's where a shortcut that I've learned along the way,
and it can be very scary for people that are just being diagnosed.
Just being diagnosed is such a challenge, because even though there's a tremendous number of resources out there online, depending on where you go, you're getting one side of the story, and you're not always getting directed the correct way. And I think the toughest challenge is that whether you're a parent and your child has it, or you're an individual like myself and you have brothers and sisters, too often nobody else understands your daily challenge, so they can be less supportive, or you feel that you're not getting anywhere, and things like depression and other issues become more of a challenge than just the seizure, along
Anxiety.
the way here. So that's why this day, Purple Day tomorrow, is so important, because if we simply educate the folks around us, I think it's going to make a difference in our lives along the way. So,
Absolutely. Wear purple tomorrow, Friday Purple Day. March
Purple,
26th.
and for anybody out there who is lucky to be partnered with a service dog, it's a day to hug that partner. My partner, Zern, from Canine Partners, helps me every second of every day. I had an issue last Friday of chronic head pain, and I have it frequently, and I take a special medication, but the pain was so bad, I had to go to the hospital in the emergency room. And I can tell you, I haven't been in the emergency room in years, so I didn't know what to expect. And number one, unless you're a child underage, you don't have a family member with you. Only children have a parent with them, one or the other. And I wasn't afraid of going in, but what I entered was a situation that is complicated because of coronavirus.
Sure.
Each room has somebody outside in the hallway and inside, so there are beds all over the place. And my canine partner was there helping me, and the hospital staff was very supportive all the way, and on the way in said, "Hey, Ed, the hallways are so crowded here, we're concerned about Zern, his safety." He said, you'll see that you're a bed on each side and emergencies going up and down. They said, "We need you to have Zern up on the bed with you." Right. And I said, "No problem, that'll help." And Zern got up there, and of course, then we go into 12-plus hours of wait time and testing. And I can tell you that it's frustrating. I don't like to admit that years ago I've had instances with wait times, and I got so frustrated I signed myself out. And my family wasn't happy. But with my canine partner Zern there, and he was laying across me,
he was able to kind of comfort you.
He was able to comfort me and keep me focused better along the way here. Reason I bring that up is anybody going into an emergency room today for seizures or side effects of epilepsy, the challenge is greater than it's been in the past. And I think that it's important to understand that, maybe do a little research and prepare, because a large number of individuals wind up in such situations, and it's good to be on the prepared side. So Purple Day is something I'm proud of. I think that it's a good operation to take advantage of and share our stories, and hopefully some of the information that I shared today will, even if it benefits one individual, I'm really happy.
You've done your job.
And so is Zern.
Edward Crane, come back anytime. Zern, Get some more sleep in.
Does he look comfortable?
He looks super comfortable. I could join him. For sure. We'll see you next time. Come back anytime, okay?
Thank you very much.
All right. I'm Austin Reed. You're watching Central Valley Talk. We're back with more in just a bit. Hang tight.